Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, criminal court, and other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me, my books, and blogs on dismantling family court corruption, and the books are in audio as well. And Raised by These Wolves will be coming out at some point, I hope soon. I have a return guest on. I have Carl Roberts from Colorado on. He was last on season 5, episodes 12, 39, and 80. He has the group coloradoresilience.org. He's also going to be in my book, Raised by These Wolves, Volume 3, How Juvenile and Family Courts Are Failing Generations. And we're going to talk about an event that's coming up this Wednesday, the 19th, for men and families. So I welcome you, Carl Roberts. How are you doing and how did you organize all this?
Well, that's yeah, no real polite words for the systems we're trying to organize with something like this, for sure. Yeah, so thanks very much, Maryann. Good to see you. Thanks for all your great work that you do and giving so many people a voice that just kind of otherwise are quite honestly voiceless. People just they don't have a way to kind of get heard and. Yeah, so I get a lot of people, men and women, reaching out to me all the time. Again, wanting to get their story out, and I point some of them to you and the other way, because I really don't do a lot of that, but I hope to do more. So anyway,
Yeah.
happy Monday for you.
Yeah, happy Monday to everybody. So you went around, we were talking earlier how you went around and you were handing out flyers on this, and you got some pretty
Yeah.
good reception.
Yeah, so I mean, so yeah, we so for some of your listeners may know this by now, but not many other people outside of our little small space do. But November is Men's Equality Month. November 19th is International Men's Day. I'm also part of a group, and I can't remember, I think you might be as well, but of DAVIA, Domestic Abuse and Violence International Alliance. We now have about 220 different organizations in over 40 different countries around the world. And it very much is about trying to reform domestic violence laws that are
Hmm.
gender inclusive, family friendly, and and do what they're supposed to do, right? And
Hmm.
evidence based. And through that is, again, it's much more male oriented. We really kind of take pride that this is kind of the largest. I really hate using the word men's rights organization in the on the globe, but it very much is. I mean, we're looking at these all these big issues that are focused, more from the male focus as opposed to traditional female focus.
Hmm.
And again, that has its own blowback from that perspective as well, just kind of given the world that we live in.
Hmm.
But about 3 months or so ago, they were Davia, which is in this the brother organization with that is the International Council for Men and Boys. They're both just doing just fabulous work. But kind of what they were asking for country coordinators, and in this country, kind of looking for different state coordinators to do something to kind of recognize men and boys in the month of November, and preferably on the day of the 19th, which is this coming Wednesday.
Hmm.
So foolishly, I raised my hand, said I will, and as as a lot of us are, we're a lot of these. Uh, um we're a lot of these big idea folks, but execution and planning is a whole different ball game, right? And it's just trying to pull all that together. So anyway, I've been it took a few evolutions of trying to what I was coming up with, but we kind of settled on we, I mean, kind of me with some other people in my ear, kind of settled on this Men and Families March on the 19th. We're meeting at the rough agenda, and we'll share the screen share kind of show the landing page for it here in just a minute. But we're meeting at the at the Capitol on at noon. We'll kind of convene there for about 30 minutes, and then one of the things you got to figure out is how to start a march from 12:30 to 1.
Uh-huh.
I've never done a march. I've never done a protest. This is my first rodeo.
Mhm.
So we'll walk from about 12:30 to 1, and then I've got a great lineup of speakers who will speak from the West Capitol steps. And yeah, it's really coming together nicely. I think the good Lord gave me this purpose, and certainly wasn't going to make it easy on me,
Yeah.
and so bringing it all together. But yeah, so promoting this really, I mean, the chore has been so much again trying to get beyond our typical audience. Quick
Mhm.
preach to the choir, right?
Yeah.
Because the choir is notoriously unreliable for showing up or when they're needed, right? And a lot of the choir likes to talk about the issues online or from the comfort of their homes,
Hmm.
but for a variety of different reasons, rarely ever show up. When it comes time to testify, or it comes time to reach out to the legislators, when it comes time to show up for a march or protest. So really trying to in theory, I've had a fair amount of success. Um, so the American Legion, the kind of the head of it here in Colorado, said he sent out a email to his 16,000 email list. No real evidence that that did happen, but anyway, I'm very thankful for that support.
Hmm.
So the kind of trying to get into the veterans communities. I've got a firefighter captain that met with a little more a month ago. He said, I mean, firefighters go through this as much as policemen do.
Hmm.
We need to kind of spread the word there. So I had this grand plan about trying to reach out to the different. There's 10 or 12 different fire districts here around the Denver metro area. So I had this grand plan. I had the name of the presidents for the unions for each of those districts. I sent them emails and hoping to kind of help that they might spread the word, but we got nothing but crickets.
Oh.
And so then quite honestly, so I then just went to two or three districts close to where I live in Arvada, which is kind of halfway between Denver and Boulder. I got another guy that was supposedly passing them out in Denver and Aurora, but just never, again, people say they do, you just don't know until it comes. But again, these you can't really see it on the camera, but
Oh yeah.
these little postcard size things, and with the QR code that hopefully people can go to the site. And matter of fact, I'll pull up the site and just show it real quick. Um, Go to the site, you make sure that it's in line with what they see and what they believe and everything else. And so I don't know if I've shared it with you. Maybe I think I did, but this minute 45-second video I think is I'm very proud of it. I don't I would play it now, but I don't. But let's see,
Hmm.
see
Hmm.
see if it kind of shows up here.
See if it does it.
Child welfare. There's a parable. Couple is walking along a river and sees babies floating downstream. One dives in and starts pulling them out. The other runs upstream. Where are you going? The first calls out. To stop whatever's throwing them in, the second replies. For the system, that's where the story ends. But for families caught inside it, that's where the nightmare begins. What he finds upstream is shocking. The very systems meant to protect children, family court, CPS, and child support, are the ones throwing them in. Not by accident, but by design. The
Hmm.
deeper he looks, the more he sees. This is not about protection, it's about profit. There's money in conflict, power in control. There's no money for prevention. Parents silenced, rights ignored, due process scoffed at. Children separated, traumatized, and abused. Systems weaponized. False allegations unchecked. Accountability non existent. And every year, billions are spent not to protect children, but to destroy families. But there's hope. A movement rising across Colorado. On November 19th, we march for men and families, for fathers who love their children, for children who deserve both parents, for communities to be stronger when parents stay involved. Join us at the Capitol. Stand for shared parenting. Stand for parental rights. Stand for our children.
That was pretty good.
So yeah,
I like that.
I'm very proud of that. And yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, I mean, what other video do you know that can kind of summarize the problem as much as that does to the on you know kind of as sharply as that does in like less than minute 30.
I thought that was great.
So I'm pretty excited about it. But you see what kind of our core issues that if we just focused on prevention and system avoidance, we could save billions downstream,
Oh
right?
yeah.
We spend $1 billion right now each year in Colorado on these systems, and they cause far more harm than good. And if they just simply protected parental rights and required evidence before they move something forward, we cut the caseloads in half. You know, and if we kind of had this equal share parenting as the default standard, you move from that if there's if somebody is shown to be unfit or unsafe, then again we would cut caseloads in half. And then because the idea is that we really are focused on protecting the child's well-being, right? And so how else can you do that by we all know that having two parents there is the most important thing.
Mhm.
So here's kind of the rough agenda. Our speakers, I'm the least famous in all this, but Robert Garza, which a lot of us know. So in theory, I've got 2 to 5 of his bills with sponsors of it for this next session,
Oh, good.
and we'll see. Erin Lee is just a warrior here in Colorado. She and another lady by the name of Lori Gillenstein. So Erin's organization is Protect Kids Colorado. Lori's organization is Colorado Parents Advocacy Network, so PKC and CPAM. They really kind of came to this more from that broader parental rights lane of education, healthcare, and upbringing. And so Erin's in got a movie on it too, but she's got in 2021, her 12-year-old daughter came home after from school after going to art club, and then told mom and dad, "Hey, I'm transgender." And because they didn't affirm it, just naturally affirm that and say, "Okay, well, okay, more power to you." But they chose to parent, right? And so then the system started coming after them.
Mm.
And so Erin is just, again, I can't say enough about her as a warrior here in the state. When we had some transgender laws, some legislation that was being heard this spring, Erin and Lori, their organizations drove 35,000 signatures on petition against this most horrid bill. If you and I tried to get a petition signed, we get maybe 35 people, right?
Right, right.
So
Difficult.
them just being able to try to get 35,000 people to sign that petition was incredible. So anyway, so I've been trying to work with those organizations much more, just kind of get our word out. So Steve McKenna. So this was Mark Ludwig. Mark Ludwig had to back out. He had a scheduling conflict this week, which anyway. So Mark is just doing tremendous work, around the country, especially at the Capitol. But Steve McKenna is with a organization. He's a lawyer. He's ex-Air Force. His organization is Grandparents for Kids. And again, these systems are doing so much more harm to our children than good. And again, and it affects grandparents, right?
Hmm.
So that's another big group. Lauren Corbett is, you may or may not know, but the advocate. She has 3 to 4 million followers on the various platforms, and she's coming with another influencer, that's not speaking, but again has other millions of followers and her space. So I'm excited about her speaking as well. Joe Jameson is probably the least known of all of us, but he is with an organization called Gays Against Groomers. So
Mm-hmm.
gag. And so again, it's again what people don't, when people start talking about these transgender rights, what they don't realize is the transgender is an ideology kind of certainly kind of that it's quite oftentimes they're trying to indoctrinate children, right? And so there's a large, I mean, so Gays Against Groomers is one of the largest gay organizations, gay and lesbian organizations, and again, that against all this transgender stuff affecting children. And again, most all of us, none of us could really care what you do as an adult, right? But it is about when you start trying to groom a child, or again, trying to expose them to all this other stuff that is just ridiculous. But we got a lot of supporters, and again, trying to get through this and trying to get people out there is certainly a big part of the problem. But the Men's Equality Month, tell you a little bit more about that, and the Men's International Day. So certainly trying to drive participation to it, and that's kind of that was a long way of saying that again I tried to get these out to as many people and get as many different audiences there to show up
Mm-hmm.
from that. So anyway, that's kind of the long and the short of it, but
Mm-hmm. That was
it's
excellent.
a it's a labor of love.
Oh, yes. Yeah, how you put all that together. That is a mammoth task.
So yeah, been working through different churches, through different men's groups, and again, a lot of people like to stay away from something if it touches on political, right?
Mhm.
And so that's God, this is protecting families.
Right.
This is political, but there you go. So
Yeah, families aren't protected at all. I mean, CPS goes after everybody.
and what most people, and again, unless you've been through it, you just don't know that uh, it requires absolutely no, what am I trying to say? It requires absolutely no evidence whatsoever
Right.
before CPS can get involved and remove your children and traumatize your family, your child for life.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just simply required evidence, right? And again, I got this another lady, the new lady that contacted me yesterday. I hadn't talked to her yet, but another lady in the Springs, and again, systems absolutely retaliate,
Oh, yes.
right? I mean, people don't understand, when a parent tries to stand up and A, protect their rights, or B, try to protect their children, and say, hey, something's wrong here. The system will throw heaven and hell at you, or throw hell at you,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
just to destroy you. So it's a big part of it, and it's nothing but so systems extort fathers, destroy mothers, and exploit families for profit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, and I notice when CPS comes into an intact family, they try to get the parents to divorce. These are the stories I'm hearing. I don't know if you're hearing this as well. They try to separate the mother and the father.
I don't know how much of that who hear that. I just know about again that they're again. So when they start doing their thing,
Right.
it's enormous stress, right? And so when you can remove one parent or kind of
Mhm.
conquer, divide and conquer type thing, then it makes it easier for CPS to remove that child and put them in foster care.
Mm-hmm.
So makes complete sense to it. But again, it just blows your mind to understand or to hear some of these stories that you hear when CPS comes in.
They
And they come in for, they don't, I mean, most oftentimes it starts with a false allegation from
Yep.
one of the parents, or then you got all the mandated reporters that are calling in more oftentimes just to cover their ass because of the way that the mandated reporters laws are written. And so they don't necessarily have a child safety concern, but they've been manipulated and told that there is a concern. And so now that they've heard it, they've got to report it, right?
Hmm.
And so then that all comes through all some of the fun stuff. And it's just really incredible how bad that is.
Hmm.
And it is just, I mean, it's just to no end. And then when they get their hooks in, again, there's no accountability within any CPS. There's no transparency. There's no and they have this broad discretion to do whatever the hell they please. And all you gotta do is catch somebody on the wrong day and they don't like the way you look or smile or dressed or whatever else, as maybe kind of relate back to their childhood
Right.
or their own psychosis. And misery loves company, so they're going to tear you down too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Even step parents may do that to the other parent. And or as you know, in my case, the step parent was jealous over my being a nurse and having three kids. But I don't know why she would destroy a perfect co-parent relationship. Just inserted herself and destroyed a co-parent relationship. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
It's money, power, and control.
Right?
And depending upon who it is, it's whatever other, is their motivation. Quite oftentimes you got, a parent that's, starting the trouble and it's, they're trying to get more money or they're certainly trying to exert their power or dominate or have that coercive control.
Hmm.
But when you get the systems involved, money's more, more of a side thing. So the more clients you have, the more money the funding is for that system. But it's really all the professionals that can add on their services and their billing hours and everything else. And that's where you get so much of that driven, or a case manager is kind of measured on their metrics and case metrics. And but it's that power and control,
Hmm.
and it where so much is so problematic. And again, one of the biggest villains out here is kind of the victim services, right? The victim services that I mean, in theory, were created to protect or help victims. They're one of the largest weapons out there. And you know,
Yeah, because I have heard like even with these domestic violence centers, some of those are connected to CPS. I've heard that in from guests on my podcast. I'm like, I don't know if I wouldn't doubt that.
um, yeah, I mean, so and one of the ladies with emailed me yesterday again. She had done all this work in domestic violence, and now the system's after her. And again, so and she said in her stuff, and there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with in her stuff. So she's supporting some things that I don't support.
Mhm.
But again, the DB legal aid there is complicit in a lot of this as any, right?
Right,
And
right.
and and I think more about the victim services that telling mom to go get the restraining order, not for protection, but as leverage, right? And so, yeah,
Yeah, and they hand those out like candy.
absolutely.
It's a shame. And how quickly a family can go down the tubes when
In a matter of
these,
minutes.
yeah, yeah.
And Yeah, 'cause, I mean, so again, there's so much of this, right? And so I've got my speech kind of narrowed down to about 12 minutes now, but I tell you, I probably rewrote that about 10, 12 times. And it is so hard to hit on all these buttons or points and again, try to move something forward. But I look forward to get now that I do have one person that's recording. In theory,
Good.
one of the influencers that is coming is supposedly has hired her own film crew, so we'll see about that.
Hmm.
But I'm excited about my speech. I'm really it really does hit on a lot of things that I want to hit. Several of the things that we've already talked about today, and again, trying to raise awareness on how bad these friggin' systems are. Again,
Right.
as opposed to just complaining about it behind the keyboard, trying to raise the awareness, get the people who just, again, if they've been through it, people are oftentimes broke or broken, or if they got it behind them, they just want to keep it behind them, right?
Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
or they're afraid of the system retaliation.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then those who haven't been involved or haven't been through the drill, they aren't giving it the attention they should because they just don't know the risk that they're at. For their spouse or somebody close to them to be on the receiving end of this at somebody else's whim.
Right.
And and yeah, so I keep struggling with this, right? I keep
Yeah.
struggling with, why don't people care? Why aren't people? I get a lot of attaboys, right? And people say, "Great, Carl, that's so great. It's kind of noble cause, all this other fun stuff." But why don't people come out for this like they do for breast cancer?
Right.
Why don't they come out for this just like they do for what am I saying? For like social justice.
Right.
I mean, so again, why don't they come out for this like the No Kings March, type thing? Again, people don't understand. Well, it's social media, it's feminism, it's all these other layers to it, but
Or it's suppressed. It could be suppressed.
oppressed, suppressed, and oppressed.
Hmm.
The message is both.
Right. A lot of these people that, well, they go through this, then they're done with it, and they just want to forget it and move on. And then there's some people that do go through it and want to help others, which I'm glad you're doing as well because people need awareness on this. I've tried to make people aware of what goes on in foster homes. And I was at this party and I'm trying to explain to these older ladies, what can go on in these places. And the one actually went like this, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And it's like, this involves our future generations.
Yeah, and people sticking their head in the sand.
Right. Yeah, this is not good. And, I hope you get a big turnout for this.
Yeah, again, I guess I'm just one of these eternal optimists. They have gonna have all this great crowd. My original hopes and dreams were 500 and with a stretch goal of 1,000. And then if I get 100 people, I think I'll be pretty.
Oh,
I'll give
yeah.
myself a lot of I'll give myself a lot of attaboys.
Yeah,
Uh,
that would be great. Even if more than 100, that would be really good because I hear a lot of grandparents complaining that they don't get to see their kids.
yeah, I'd be surprised if we have any grandparents show up besides the one that's speaking.
Hmm.
And again, because it's not right in front of them, it's not something that evokes that outrage that it should. I mean, again, people are out, I think, quite honestly, outraged in the No Kings March, right?
Hmm.
There's very justifiable outrage and all that.
Hmm.
the ICE deportations, all that other crap is just outlandish,
Hmm.
um, to be polite. Um, but what about just day in and day out? CPS is doing this harm, and
Hmm.
it just blows your mind. It just, and again, but it's not with, it doesn't have the same media attention. You got the politicians and the system leaders thinking, okay, well, harm is the exception, not the rule, when it's more the rule. And it's destroying lives. And again, I'm going to go down this one last rabbit hole, then I'll get off of it. But it is really, I mean, and we talk about fatherlessness, right? And we know, I mean, all the data is black and white and voluminous, again, and all universal. I mean, there's no denying any of it. Again, when the child, boys or girls do not are raised without a father,
Hmm.
they're at a greater risk of every societal ill. And so right now, where Colorado spends over $1 billion each year on family courts, CPS, and child support, plus all the other bloodsuckers that kind of circle around with all that,
Hmm.
if they simply protect parental rights, required evidence to move something forward, they cut that caseload in half, if not further, and
Right.
reduce that spending by $500 million. Because right now, so the harm that they're causing in that in spending in trying to destroy families, and they certainly don't look at it that way, but the harm that they're causing to destroy families, removing fathers and obviously mothers from children's lives, then is putting them right into the criminal violence system, into
Hmm.
the criminal justice system, into the homicide, more likely to be a homicide victim or a child abuse victim, or I
Hmm.
mean, and everything else. So it is packing the roles for all the other systems: criminal justice, homelessness, mental health. So where we're spending every year 10, 15, 20 billion dollars a year on that in Colorado, but if we just simply focused on prevention, keeping kids out of these systems and keeping
Hmm.
families out of these systems, protecting the parental rights, requiring evidence, we can not only reduce, the caseloads in half in Colorado, but save billions of dollars downstream on the systems that weren't.
Right. And the taxpayers need to know all about this.
And that's okay. Okay. I'm proud on something else, and I'll show this one real quick too. And show you a presentation that I gave at a CPS family court town hall that we did about a little more than a month ago. I need to pull that up just because it says what I want to say real quick. But is it coming up? Uh,
Don't we
yeah,
want me to pause us?
no, we'll come. I'll get it.
Yeah, I try to educate the taxpayer as much as I can because they should be outraged that, kids are being taken away from parents. What is
Yeah,
it?
I mean,
Every 15 minutes.
yeah, I don't know that data, but it would seem more often than that. This
Hmm.
is a town hall I gave a couple of months ago. Um, let's see here. Make this play. Um, but again, system perspective thinks, we do a little harm, but we do mostly good. But the reality is more like that, right?
Right.
And we know, and we don't have any way to really track it because they cover everything up. We know with the complaints, but again, the complaint systems aren't there to protect families. They're to protect the state and counties and systems and others and those who abuse their power from accountability and liability. There's no oversight, no accountability. Um, and why? Because it's all about money, right? And there you go.
Right.
So here's kind of rough. We've been doing a financial analysis on Colorado's numbers. And so again, of the 2 billion that's spent here in Colorado, half of that comes from the state, 36% from the feds, and 15% from the counties. And it's all on the, child support, child welfare, the courts, the Office of Child Representative. What happened?
There we go.
And the Founding Parents Council, CASA, which is, I got the mixed emotions there, and the ombudsman. If we and then plus another 250 million dollars on the indirect spend of law enforcement and everybody else is supposed to be, it's attached to this. But it's that 10 to 15 billion downstream.
Mm.
And if we just simply protected the parental rights and required prioritize prevention over funding and system involvement, we could have that type of reduction in the overall budgets, right?
Mhm.
And again, it's just so clear to you and me, but it's just not to the taxpayer. So anyway,
Yeah.
um,
I just, I really hope there's a huge turnout. You've
yeah,
got some good speakers there, man.
yeah. So anyway, so I appreciate any help you can get, Ken, and any of your followers again, kind of repost this and get it out, and for those who are in Colorado to show up
Yeah, please show
and
up. This is really important. This is for the kids too, and families. I hope you get a huge turnout, and thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
no,
Oh,
I've got
how can people reach you?
yeah, ColoradoResilience.org,
Okay.
and got all the contact there. And
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm so glad. Don't jump off, okay?
That's the deal.
Okay, slam the
Thanks so
gavel.
much for having me.
Okay. Anytime. Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I am your host, Maryann Petri. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google, and other platforms I don't know about. Again, feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. Thank you so much, Carl Roberts, of coloradoresilience.org with this march on the 19th. And I hope you get a big turnout on Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary Ann.